Hi, this is Jamie Pate, and in today's video, we are going to talk mostly about MemoryDex, but we're going to bring MemoryDex into the world of the Heidi Swapp Minc collection. So we have Heidi Swapp Memory Dex, plus adding in the collection of Minc and giving it a totally different kind of flair. I actually have 5 cards to show you. I want to share with you real quick before we dive into the actual card making exactly what I'll be using from the MemoryDex collection. So you can see here I have on my table the dies, and I have both sets of dies, and so I have them at the ready because I'll be using them. And I will also be utilizing the MemoryDex punch today as well. But what I'm super excited about are these Minc papers. The Minc papers will be the star of the show today. So there are 2 12x12 pads and a 6x6 pad. So the 6x6 pad is all a white background, and each of them have a Minc pattern on them that you can foil, obviously. Here's the other 12x12 pad, and it's the same thing. All the background to this is white, but then there's also this collection. And while you have white cardstock background, there's also craft and the vellum. And we're going to be utilizing this 12x12 paper pad and also the 6x6 today. Also, there are this year a couple of new foils. I'm going to be using the leopard print, the silver squares, and the gold stars. And so this is what you're going to be seeing me utilize. So if you're wanting to play along, gather these supplies up. If you don't have these supplies, there'll be links down below. And let's get to crafting some MemoryDex cards with the Minc collection. Okay, the first card we're going to make, you sort of got a preview here at the beginning. We're going to make this card, and I'm going to show you the preview this time. The other ones, you're just going to have to wait and see how they turn out. So just to give you an idea, what I did is using my We Are Memory Keepers Evolution, I die cut out this piece of Minc paper. It's super hard. I don't even think I can focus it. Oh, you might be able to see a little bit. It's going to be super hard for my camera to focus on that. But there is a clear glue pattern on here that will Minc, I promise you. So when this goes to the machine, it's going to come out. I'm going to use the leopard print. Also for this card, if you're playing along, you're going to need some wide ribbon, some baker's twine, some crinkly ribbon, some scrap pattern paper, and I'm also using one of the gold foil stickers from the Emerson Lane cardstock stickers. So let's get to foiling this card. Okay, for this first card, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the Minc machine. I will not do this for each card. There are a whole lot of videos in my own channel, as well as Heidi Swapp's channel, where you can see all the details to actually minking anything, any paper, any kind of product that has a toner base or a glue base on it. What I've done here, I have this carrier sheet, and I've laid down the dot pattern that's going to be minked and a sheet of the leopard print. And I'm going to run this through the machine and just going to kind of speed that up a minute, and then I'll show you and give you a reveal at the end. So that is exactly how all of the Minc papers today will be foiled. Just that process I used right there. So this is what this card now looks like. Now you can see where all that polka dot was. Isn't that fabulous? What a fun MemoryDex card, right? Okay, let's get to embellishing it now. I've taken 2 lengths of wide trim of whole, and I am going to set it in place on this card, and I will staple it in place just right in the middle. That is the base of this. Next, I'm going to use this scrunchy ribbon and wrap it about twice around my fingers and also staple it right in the middle. And that's going to be the next layering piece. Next, I have literally 2 scraps of pattern paper that I'm going to V-notch, and it's going to be part of the layers here of this trim. Gonna hot glue the right to the middle. I'm just going to double up some baker's twine and make a nice bow out of this. Touch of hot glue, it's just going to pop right on top. It's going to hide the staple out of the way. You're never going to see the staples here. The hot glue is my friend, so I can just sort of let that sit wherever. And that card is done. Card 2 will need a swatch of the Gold Stars foil. It will need the rounded die. I already punched this out of cardstock. I ran it through a embossing envelope, and so it has some texture on it. I just thought that would be fun. And then I have a tag for this, some trim also for the tag. The highlight of this MemoryDex card will be the vellum butterflies. Again, you are not probably going to be able to see much of a pattern here. There's a beautiful floral pattern that I am going to foil with the Gold Stars. These die cut butterflies have been run through the Minc Machine. Now you can see just how absolutely gorgeous. This has got to be one of my favorite patterns. I might be saying this over and over again. Please forgive me. But when you get excited about these nerdy paper crafty things, you have to share. This is the Gold Stars, remember? And it just sparkles so beautifully on this delicate floral pattern. The next part, I'm going to be using a handy dandy stapler here. I have stapled the butterflies together. I'm going to start from the bottom layer up using my fancy distress tool, give an edge to this die cut tag, and then that is going to be popped up with the dimensional dots. Make sure when you're placing embellished elements on your die cut MemoryDex cards that you don't cover the pre-punched space that pops into the spinner. You want to make sure you have plenty of room so that it will still hold in the spinner. The tag needs a hole. Go in there and give it a hole. So then I'm going to use this other scrunchy ribbon that's already pre-colored, just tying a knot at the top, trim some of that excess off. Then I'll also use another pop dot to add my butterfly to the top of the tag, pop up those wings a little bit. Then I already have a little today sticker that's popped up also in dimensional, and it's going to sit right there. And that is card number 2. Okay, we're ready for card number 3. I'm using these MemoryDex watercolor cards. These already have a die cut feature to them. We're going to use the fun card. We're going to do a couple different techniques. The first technique utilizes the reactive mist. Using the reactive mist, I'm just going to get a little bit here on my craft mat. I'm going to use one of Heidi Swapp's paint brushes. And I'm just going to swipe the edges. Not a lot of paint, but sort of a grungy sort of feel to it, just to give us this hint of foil when that dries. It's going to frame that fun in, and it really is going to end up being a fun card. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. It needs to dry pretty well. I went pretty light on the paint, but let's give it a good dry. While that's drying, I'm going to grab the 6x6 Minc paper. One of the reasons for using a 6x6 is because the patterns are smaller, and sometimes that works out really well for a technique. Because the idea with this card is that I want to back up the fun with a Minc technique. So I took this paper, you can see the diagonal lines just very faint, and that paper is going to turn out like this. This is with the Gold Stars, and I'm going to back the fun up with that little feature. Here's our reveal. Oh, I love that. Isn't that great? Oh, that is so fun. Now, before we continue to build this MemoryDex card, just show you that's how that's going to finish that off. I wanted to also add some paint splatters, just adding some water here to some just regular acrylic craft paint. Paint is dry on the fun card. Sort of has a grungy kind of aspect going on here. Now that everything is dry, I'm going to back the fun up with the Gold Star stripes. I think that looks fabulous. Just want to make sure it doesn't show down here. I'll add adhesive to the outer edges of the word fun. Then I can place this right where it needs to go. I have typed the word on my typecast, the word have. Adding a little bit of hot glue. I'm going to pop it right here. The other word I typed, adding some hot glue to the tip. I'm going to pop it there and let it hang over the edge of the card. Taking another piece of the trim, just going to fold it over and add a staple, and then I'll add it to the card. I have an enamel heart here. Going to add a pop dot to the back of it. There you have it. Have fun every day. For card number 4, I've already die cut this card base out of black and white pattern paper using the scallops, actually more of a ticket sort of shaped die for the MemoryDex. I've used the Minc stamps, stamped this hello, plus I did an offset cut. That's how I'm going to use it. These are lovely stamps. I think everyone should have these in their stash. I'm using this craft pattern. Now you can see how there is a pattern on here. It's floral. I'm going to be foiling the floral pattern with the silver gold stars. Okay, watch how beautiful this silver is on this craft. It is absolutely stunning. This is one, I'm going to say it again, this is one of my favorite patterns. So sorry. This is going to look awesome on this MemoryDex card. What I'm going to go in and do is fancy cut some flowers out to add as an embellishment to our card. The foil flowers are fussy cut from the craft paper and are super beautiful. At this point, just going to start layering in these flowers. Didn't really have a complete plan for this when I started. I think I just need to add one more leaf right down here. And then I will pop that up right on top. This makes for a fairly simple card. With all the glam of the silver foil though, I think it's kind of okay. And that is card number 4. The final MemoryDex card is probably going to be the easiest card of all, but I wanted you to see how easy it is to add to your MemoryDex spinner. Part of this paper pad collection includes this 12 by 12 cutaway. You can see I already cut one away. And there are, like, this top row is a 3 by 4 set of cards. This one says, live the life you love. I'm going to cut that out and I will foil it. And I'm going to show you how we're going to add it to our spinner. And this is what that vellum looks like once it has been foiled. There's divider lines between all of these cards. And so I'm going to just go back and trim that up a little bit because you can see the other line from the next card. To finish this card, I'm going to punch the bottom portion with the MemoryDex hole punch. And now I have a card that's all ready to pop right into my spinner, just like it is. Thank you for watching today's video to just show you all these great ways to add MemoryDex cards to your spinner. I'll see you next time.